Next is from John Kamepa, subject his new dirt sheet likes post. Will Ospreay signed with AEW officially, and I'm sure he's being very well paid. Good for him. Good for any wrestler makes as much money as he can while they can. Abject K100, though, has Ospreay signing with AEW exposed the latest dirt sheet lie. In 2023, we've all seen the reports about how WWE has great interest in Jay White, Will Ospreay, Okada, Ibushi, only for them to shockingly debut with AEW. Ibushi in particular is a strange one because he himself said that he signed his deal with AEW in July, yet for months and months, people like Sapp and Meltzer have been reporting how he was talking with WWE. What I'm asking is the new WWE has huge interest in signing this talent, actually a cover-up for how the talent is already signed with AEW so they can do the AEW's where I really want to be stuff that they say at media scrums while Tony Khan sits beside them with his dorky smile and his marky smug face.
Curious.
I don't know. I don't know how these guys are negotiating, okay? But I know that WWE obviously had interest in Will Ospreay, and if they didn't, they're stupid, okay? But from what Will Ospreay saying, one of the deal breakers that their guess is that he wanted to spend a lot of time back in England. And that's kind of like a deal breaker for WWE. You got to be here. You got to stay in the States. You got to, like, if you want, bro, you have to move to the United States if you want to work for WWE. If he wasn't willing to do that, but he's like, but ultimately think how that is.
I'm sorry, he used to say that. The point of this now was he's finally ready to commit to America. That's why he came over now to sign full time with somebody. This is the first time he was willing to do that.
Well, he signed with. Well, the funniest thing was though, is they signed him and they announced it, but then they said he's still not finished up with his New Japan deal. It's going to be a little bit of time before he comes in. So, I don't know, like that, whatever.
Let me just say about this guy that thinks he basically is calling in question like that the dirt sheets are lying about talking to these guys. Is that basically the gist of it?
Kind of, yeah.
Or the dirt sheets are being manipulated to make it seem like WWE has interest to make AEW look cooler when they get the signing. You see?
All
right. Well, I can tell you this. They probably talked to all those guys. They would be dumb not to. And I do know for a fact, that there are guys that were going to sign with WWE, and Tony basically outbid them in some cases. I felt he overpaid them. But if you remember, WWE was doing the same thing. They didn't want nobody going to AEW, so they were like overpaying everybody. And they're like, let him get in depth and overpay all these guys. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. It's going to be interesting with the MJF thing. I mean, if Tony,
he's going to have to roll out the Brinks truck. But at the end of the day, it's like I told you the other day when LAX said, bro, there's nothing left for us to do. What is there left for him to do?
Right. Yeah. Well, what else is he going to do there? Yeah. He's
right.
in an angle. He's already in an angle with like 9 guys right now.
Right.
It's like what does he do after this?
And he already fought Punk, and he had a chain match, and he's done everything.
Right.
Basically just about.
Next is some key. Actually, Tony should not meet his asking price. Maybe that's what Tony's doing with him right now. Is that he's definitely not going to pay what he wants, and he's just going to use him for everything that he ever was going to use him for in the coming months going forward.
But do you want to whether you're a football team, a basketball team, a wrestling company, do you want to let your biggest draw and most popular guy go?
Probably not. But he got rid of
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Yeah, but you can't be taking those massive hits, Cody. Okay, so who to you, if MJF were to leave, who to you, Disco and Joe, would take his place?
I don't know. You could slot, if you pushed him right, you could slot Wardlow into that spot. I don't know. They haven't
MJF spot.
Swerve's getting there.
Try Ricky Starks. Push Ricky Starks up there.
Kind of undersized a little bit, but that's no bigger than you think. But here's the thing, okay? Is if you look at the handful of the guys at the top of both companies, all right? WWE looked at their theirs and said what more can we do with Edge? Like what he gets like $3 million a year. It's like, is there another feud? Like he's literally wrestled almost everybody in the company. His last one, he wanted to wrestle Finn Balor, who's next on his plate. And they're looking at probably saying nobody that's going to draw money with. So they let AEW sign him. Well, I wonder if like Tony's thinking the same way with MJF. You know, okay, we'd like to keep this guy. He is a face, but like, what is left on his plate? And his act is getting kind of repetitive and stale. He's been doing the same thing, and he's a babyface now. And it's not. Let's face the facts.
But
he's not.
The only problem with that is whether it's getting repetitive or not. The people still love that guy. I have not heard the crowd reaction go down at all. And any phrase he says, they repeat. Right. You know, whether it's kangaroo kick or scumbag or whatever he says. They're chanting it.
Yeah, I don't know.
You still got him in the palm of their palms. Yeah.
Well, like Tony, like he probably
to do.
Like Tony is over.
No, go ahead. Yeah,
well, if Tony is overpaying for these guys, I'm like, how much can you overpay, and how we're like, bro, this is all these guys at the top are basically going to be treating Tony like a money market and treating this like a money grab. They're gonna get paid a fortune. Because there's like this perceived competition, and he doesn't want to lose his guys. But honestly, it doesn't really matter. You know, it's like Tony doesn't have the machine in place, production wise and creatively wise, to like take the assets in, pay them the money, and get value out of what you're paying them.
Bro, and here's the problem. He doesn't ability
to do that yet. You know?
Here is the biggest problem. They've got all the talent in the world, but they don't have the creative backing it up. And that's what kills them.
Yeah. Next,
this is kind of a spin-off question, since we're talking salaries today and stuff. When you guys were in WCW, you each were there from 95, 96 till the end. What did you think of your own compensation there? Did you feel it was fair, under, or did you go?
My last contract was fair. Yeah. My last contract was fair. Okay.
Yeah.
Compared to what other guys were getting paid that I was working with. Yeah. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. It was.
Yo, what up? This is Konnan, and I host Keeping It 100, my co-host, Disco Inferno, unfortunately.
Well, I'd say you're my co-host.
Listen, every Thursday here on Spreaker, we talk pro wrestling, sports, movies, music, TV, pop culture, and some politics. It's everything the rest of the pro wrestling podcasts are not.
Tune in to hear myself, the superior one, educate and inform.
Tune in to hear me bury Disco.
That's very disrespectful.
Join us every Thursday on Spreaker and keep it 100. Boom!